This is Public Access Cruel Summer, as we've named it, Part 3. We left off in the dawn phase. We are down Tamara this week, so Dahlia will be elsewhere dealing with other things, I'm sure. We'll see what happens. But we resolved most of the dawn phase stuff last time, so we're about to move into the day, just recapping everyone's conditions and where our various mysteries are at. Everett has three conditions, is haunted, has the empty VCR, as well as I feel small. Had a rather productive time in 18 Escondido, I believe. Max is just haunted, still. 18 Escondido to blame. And then Sebastian's also fully stacked with irritated, smells like smoke, and marked by Patient's Head, the local president of the Homeowners Association for Escondido Street, who Sebastian presented himself as like a door-to-door missionary thing. So she definitely took note of him for poking around the block. So we'll see what comes of that. But yeah, over on the house on Escondido Street, you've answered the question about how to lure Elliot to us, and indeed you resolved that during this past night phase. Though it's not obvious that that's what you've done, Elliot, whatever he is, be he spirit, phantom, projection, simulacrum, whatever you want to think, is doing things now in the background, and this will impact the resolution of this scenario. But you have answered that, leaving though the core question on the table, which is of course, what happened to the Mendoza family? That's complexity 6. You have 4 clues available at this time. Meanwhile, our newest mystery prior to this upcoming day was Slumber Party Summoning Circle, trying to determine what is possessing Linnea Rodenbecker, sorrowful ghost or something more demonic. You've only gathered 2 clues for that one, though it has led to some interesting uh, points of discussion, primarily around one of the clues being that the creator of the Crying Circle, a man named Hieronymus Whately, which is a name that's familiar to all of us above the table, at least the surname is, and was an expert in astral projection. So things are happening, weird things are happening. We did learn for Slumber Party that Linnea has straight up disappeared. She was in Samantha Harrington's care at her home, but apparently just walked out, fully disappeared. Samantha has corralled, her friends into the mix to like help find them. You tried to find her to no success yet, but we'll see what's happening there. And we're gonna go here into the day phase to introduce another mystery. Deep Lake is a strange place, and many things are happening here. Unlike before, this day phase, I think, is going to be the day following, not like several days, several weeks later. This is continual. Our new mystery is the Whisper. It was all over the news recently. A block party ended in tragedy when Marguerite Lennis, age 71, murdered her husband with a pair of garden shears in front of the whole neighborhood. When asked by her neighbors and the responding police officers why she did it, all she said was, "The house told me what he did. None of us are innocent." Marguerite was later found dead in the station's lockup. She had hanged herself. The block party in question happened on Mahogany Place, the only completed section of the abandoned Playa Morado housing development outside of Deep Lake. It is a single street of 16 houses surrounded by empty lots and desert. Sebastian, you've heard many conspiracy theories about Playa Morado and why it was never finished. Which is the most absurd, and which one unnerves you to think might actually be true?
Okay. Most absurd conspiracy theory. There's a family of mole men living under the foundations of these places, and they wanted everyone gone, so they whispered to her through the walls and got the place condemned. What unnerves me to think might actually be true? Honestly, probably that one too. Uh,
Very fair. It's like
but I
silly, but
feel like I ought to
also,
come up
oh
with
God.
another one. Feels kind of basic, but why not? It's the kind of thing that people would come up with in the 90s. People think it's buried on a Native American burial ground, and tried and true, they don't like that.
Yeah, you've seen Poltergeist. Yeah, that's pretty scary. You don't want that to end up.
Stephen King.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're already dealing with one very haunted house. Maybe we should not have another. That's not the only thing that grabbed your attention. Ed Rogelski, a conspiracy nut and resident of Mahogany Place, has been posting extensively on message boards and local chat rooms about the strange goings on and paranoia in his neighborhood. Sidebar, confirming now, this Ed Rogelski figure is the same person that Dahlia found the online like ramblings of in last session on the forums and the chat rooms and all that I had just alluded to. Between the
That's my wish
murder
granted.
between the murder of Mr. Lennis and Ed's ramblings, all of this eerily aligns with a well-known urban legend in Degoya County, the Whisper. Depending on who you ask, the Whisper is either a demon or aliens or the Illuminati or something similarly hard to believe. But the details are usually the same. A voice in your walls that tells you the deepest, darkest secrets of your friends and family and what they really think of you. Max, your family was nearly torn apart by the so-called Whisper when you lived in Deep Lake, so you know that whatever it is precisely, the Whisper is a real phenomenon. What happened to your family?
I think that the whisper affected my family in a way that my father started to panic around the house, move around. He bought guns, and eventually people started to think that our family was going to like cause a scene. And my mother tried to fight it off and like sell the guns behind his back and cause a big rift and almost caused their divorce.
Maybe the Whisper is a supernatural entity, or maybe some shadowy group just wants you to think it's a supernatural entity. Either way, Playa Morado is only a 20-minute drive from the house on Rodenbecker Street. What harm could it do to check the place out? The first question on the Whisper is the Whisper a supernatural infestation or a man made experiment? Complexity 4 will allow you to unlock the next question. We do have a special key for this mystery as well, which is the key of the unspoken. And that leaves us now with a full slate of mysteries completely active and ready to go. Um, in the timeline as we've kind of built it, I think we can say that like retroactively, the like news about this Marguerite Lennis, this whole block party thing, it like happened recently, like within the last couple days, and now it's kind of like coming to the fore of your mind as like, oh, this is kind of like a thing going on that Ed Rigelski was posting a lot. We saw Dahlia browsing the forum, so that's all coming together now of like, oh, maybe this is something worth actually looking into. Um, but yeah, let's go into the day phase proper now. And I would like to hear what our latchkeys are interested in doing today. Let's go in order here, starting with Everett. What about you?
Let's see. I would love a nostalgic move.
You are a little
Maybe
stacked up at the moment.
maybe in the morning, whenever Max and I get back to the house, we have a little powwow, Sebastian.
Yeah, do a group scene perhaps.
Perhaps.
I mean, everyone's got some conditions they could probably clear. Is everyone cool with doing a nostalgic move to kick things off?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's do that first. I just like the idea of it being, yeah, let's in the house on Rodenbecker Street. It's the morning, whatever routine you guys want to set for yourselves. Um, Role play.
Hey, Everett, how'd you like your eggs again, man?
Hmm. Over easy. That's fine.
Sebastian? Just cracking open eggs and starting to put them in a pan.
Anything works. Usually, when I try to cook eggs, they always turn out scrambled.
If you catch fast enough, a scrambled egg can become an omelet pretty easy. I say as they kind of flipping everything and getting us breakfast ready.
Everett's digging through the fridge and he's pulls out a couple of cans. He goes, I got these in preparation. I knew that house was going to be fucking creepy. And he tosses Max a beer. Sebastian, would you like one? I know it's what 10 a.m., but
Doesn't bother me, but no thanks.
And breakfast. But yeah. Fucking Sebastian, man, that place is fucking haunted.
What do you think we should do about it?
Mm. We also found that the ghost Everett is, or Elliot is there doing something. So I don't say we can't burn the place down exactly.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think
that
we've
would
cleared
be
him
too
out.
easy.
We got to do something. That house is. I don't even know if haunted is the right word, but there's something wrong with it.
It kind of reminds me of all my like a bunch of stories from back in the old Fangoria books, that comics I used to read of like hauntings and houses, and how they would have to do these rituals to like exorcise the spirits, but I don't know shit about it.
Isn't Fangoria about special effects in movies?
That too, but there's like little articles on the side.
You read it for the articles.
And you know, the awesome art. A lot of Brahm in that. And Frank Zeta. Frank Franzetta. He's fucking awesome.
I don't know half of those words.
Me neither.
Yeah, I was thinking after I like finish cooking up breakfast, I run over to my room real quick and I grab a couple of my magazines and toss them on to the table. I'm like, look them over. They're really sick.
Meanwhile, I'm gonna pour myself a strong cup of coffee because I'm still not sleeping well down in that basement where they made that episode of TV Odyssey.
And also, just like you don't smoke, but everything you wear smells like cigarettes lately.
Yeah,
Hey man, I got some stuff. I kind of like break out this little spray. I'm like, this helps me smell like not weed all the time.
thanks.
Yeah, better.
Eggs are so nostalgic. I didn't really eat a lot growing up, but anytime I would sleepovers, I feel like that's always what the parents would cook up for us in the morning.
That's quick and easy.
Feel so much, I don't know, bigger now. It's not the same, but it is. Does that make sense?
I kind of get it.
You guys have any luck with that slumber party thing?
Ugh, no. I met a weird guy in the street. He was huge. He may, he might have been a ghost. I don't know. He was weird.
A huge man.
He's undressed in all yellow. He had a little sun bow tie. I just looked down at the radio for a minute and he just popped up. Told me to seek Christ, which maybe maybe that was more of a clue than a religious inscription.
I think I met that guy too.
Really?
Yeah, the other night I just went driving around to see the old places, checked out the water tower there. I climbed up, and I don't know if he was already there or if he climbed up behind me. Either way, he was silent as like a ghost. And there he was, and he was just talking in riddles the whole time.
Oh yeah, he did that with me too. Didn't make a lick of sense. Called himself what, the Wanderer, I think.
That was it, the Wanderer. Kept telling me to look out at the whole town, ask me where I am or some shit.
Sounds about right.
Hope I don't run into this freak.
Well, it's not all bad.
How
Just a
you said he
penchant.
was big enough and he has like this massive yellow suit?
Yeah, he was just in yellow. I think he was even taller than you, Max, and you're tall.
I don't know, man. I've never seen him. I haven't seen him around town. You think he'd be really hard to miss someone like that?
She'd be surprised.
So, what are our plans for today? Uh, I think that we need to try and figure out Escondido Street as much as we can. The slumbering party or the summoning circle, all that stuff is still looming.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna keep looking into that. I don't want Samantha to get left too high and dry.
Yeah, also, I'd like to wrap up the whole thing on Escondido Street before I run into that HOA bitch again.
So, Sebastian,
Bing bong.
oh,
That's the doorbell. But before we see who it is, let's get the benefits of our nostalgic move here. Everett, what condition do you think you've cleared during the scene where you were
Was going
reminiscing?
for I feel small.
I can see that. A little camaraderie. Max, do you think you've cleared haunted?
yeah, I think just hanging out with my friends, kind of bringing me back.
Mm, pretty good. Let's see here. And Sebastian, do you think you've cleared any of your three conditions?
Well, I got spritzed in the face with some Old Spice,
So maybe you
so
don't smell like smoke anymore. Yeah, that checks out.
Still a
Now,
little irritated.
because we this is a group move here, you still get the benefits of Everett's latchkey move. Thank you for being a friend. Um, the other latchkeys may either clear a second condition or they can take the condition feeling good, which can be cleared at any time for advantage on a die roll. Max, you don't have any other conditions. Would you like to take feeling good?
Yeah, I would.
Hell yeah. And what about you, Sebastian? You want to clear your second condition or take feeling good?
um, yeah, I think I will clear another condition. Uh, Situationally, I think irritated
Yeah, that
works
makes
best.
sense. Let's,
Also, for roleplay reasons, I think it'd be fun to
yeah.
still be marked by patience.
Mm-hmm. All right. Cleared irritated. Parts of this mystery are no longer congealed. Maybe there's a little bit more sense of progress. Very good. The doorbell's ringing. You go to answer. 18, not 18, sorry, 26 Rodenbecker doesn't strike me as the type of house that has a peephole. But you can, when you open the door, you see someone you probably didn't expect to see, which is to say a priest. There is a gentleman, a father, if you will, with a black shirt and, Roman collar. Uh, he has like salt and pepper hair. Um, and he's kind of like standing there with a look on his face, like halfway between uncertainty and intrigue. Um, who opens the door among the three of you?
I will.
Okay. The priest kind of like looks at you, sizes you up for a moment, and flashes you a friendly grin, revealing a gold tooth. And he says, I apologize. I did not mean to interrupt. Is is this the home of uh, the the Deep Lake Latchkeys?
The who now?
You have a bit of a name, I have heard.
When did that happen? Guys, did we give ourselves a group name?
Yeah, we talked about it when we first moved in.
Yeah, that's what we were calling ourselves on the forum, man.
I just thought we were a bunch of usernames.
I hope I'm not arriving at a bad time. May I come in?
Um, I don't mind. Guys,
Yeah, whatever, man.
Ooh.
Who is it? Everett pokes his head around the
Yeah, and
corner.
like the priest is entering goes, "Oh,
Oh,
Smells delicious in here. Good breakfast, huh? He nodding at your plates of eggs.
well, I'm there, father.
Well, I would be lying if I told you I did not have an appetite, but circumstances think I should be more business than pleasure. But if there's leftovers, I will not say no to one after. I do not mean to be rude. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Father Rogelio Martinez. I have, I am I am the priest, as you could clearly tell. I've been here in Deep Lake out of Our Lady of Pure Waters, Catholic Church, since the late 80s. I do not, I do not personally recognize any of you, so I take it you have never been part of my congregation. Yeah, no worries. I, this is going to sound perhaps a little peculiar. I I felt called to come here to meet you, all of you, and offer my help. I can tell by the looks on your faces you don't know what to make of that, so allow me to expand. I know that as of the other night, young Miss Linnea Rodenbecker has been afflicted by something, something that you do not know the nature of, and have been at a loss otherwise, poking around, at least getting your footing. I only bring this up because, well, I I have found her, or rather, I had found her.
Oh,
Did you lose her too?
Uh, Not for lack of trying to keep her. Not a prisoner, of course, just how would I
Yeah.
start? Yeah.
She's not well at the moment. So
No,
yeah.
The
no, she
beginning
is
is a
not.
good place to start.
Yes, the
And then when you
beginning.
come to the end, stop.
He chuckles. There is wisdom in that. Very well. The beginning. This might sound a little odd, but I do have something to confess to you.
A priest with confession. How about that?
I do not feel the presence of God in the Goya County, and I haven't for many years. If I'm driving outside the county, I can feel God with me. But as soon as I pass that blue and yellow sign welcoming me to Deep Lake, he's gone like a light switch flipped. I've, for many reasons, passed the opportunities to transfer from this small town to a bigger congregation because I believe that there is some sort of holy mission I am intended to accomplish here in this place, in this Degoya County. And as of the last few nights, I have felt, I guess you could say, a pulling, a sense of direction with which to uh, go. And it has been surrounding, well, you all. I do not think you saw me, but I was out and about trying to clear my head, understand these feelings, and understand what God intends for me to do in this matter. And I've seen you. I've seen you around. I've seen you. Well, not to sound like I've been spying on you, just I knew. And so last night I was closing up at my church, and I heard the doors open. And well, it's not uncommon that I receive a late night visitor, but it's rare enough that I still thought it noteworthy. But the individual who came inside was none other than Linnea Rodenbecker. And I could tell you, there was something amiss. Something, something. And I tried my best to help her and I realized I was out of my depth. And I tried some, probably not enough, but point is, she disappeared again. And I have come here to offer you my help.
Set of eyes just to help us out? Or do you know anything about this ghost game?
I know not a lot when it comes to the specifics of what is currently afflicting young Miss Rodenbecker, but not to, well, not to sort of live up to the stereotypes, but as a Catholic priest of some years, I have what you might call experience with exorcising the unwanted spirits.
Aren't those supposed to be fairly uncommon?
Yes, supposed to be.
Well, we are in Deep Lake.
Uh,
I mean, we'll take your help, especially because we have some other things we need to take care of too. So, um, Everett, you said you wanted to look more into this. You can go
Yes,
with the father.
I mean, really, I was going to check the church out today, so I guess the church has come to me.
oh, is that right? He like looks at you and he says, "Was there some reason that you were going to come to, well, come to my church of all places? I actually thought that I would this would be sort of news that you not would not have thought to look at such a small church before I came in."
Oh, well, it wasn't your church specifically. I was going to sort of see what churches were in the area. I got a tip from a friend that told me to seek Christ, and I don't think they meant it religiously.
Huh.
Well, friend is a strong.
Well, I would be happy to accompany you back to the church. I could show you around the place, and if we can find anything that hints towards where Linnea might have gone, I'd be more than happy to assist in that matter.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Hmm. Um, I sort of called a cab, so
Oh.
I think one of you might have to drive.
Oh, I could drive. It's all right.
Oh, well, very good. Oh, he's like walking outside. This is a lovely car. You know, it's just he's like gives a little low whistle. Um,
Thanks.
is everyone wanting to go join Father Ahelio at the church, or are some of you going to go do your own things now?
Well, it looks like we've got a couple of folks checking out the Slumber Party Summoning Circle. Um, Max, did we still want to check out the Escondido Street thing?
Yeah, I think we should try and focus in on that. I think that thing is getting bad fast. I think we should try and get that solved as soon as we can.
What is your approach then? What do you want to do regarding 18 Escondido? While you're thinking on that, let's talk about, by the way, the fact that we do have a clue from the nostalgic move we had concluded a few minutes ago for one of the active mysteries. Are we wanting to make that for Escondido, Summoning Circle, the Whisper? And then we can go from there.
I think that maybe the clue should be for the slumber party because he's coming here to help with that. Well, at least the father, but it is with our nostalgic move. I guess we could. Escondido would help because I feel like because there's countdowns on these, and it's looking like that is about to be done. So I'm
There's
having
two
a
of you
feeling.
going to research it or going to look into it. So
Yeah.
So were we thinking Escondido Street?
we can do that.
Yeah, so then what is a clue that could have been stumbled upon during that nostalgic move before Father Rogelio showed up?
I mean, I was thinking we've gone to the library to look at old newspapers and things. Maybe we find an old photograph that like there's a family of the exact same size as the Mendozas or the was it Mendozas?
Mhm.
Yep, like two parents and like two kids, same like family makeup. I don't know, spitballing.
We
Those are
already
hard.
found a picture of the family with an extra child in it.
I mean, it'd be really wild, but maybe in like one of those old magazines I had, there was like a missing child from this area that happens to look
Oh,
like
interesting.
they'd be
Oh,
Ah,
like,
involved with
what if
this.
like when you were flipping through your old Fangoria magazines, like an old like missing persons poster like fell out of it?
Hmm.
That's fucking ominous. What's the deal with it? Like what's the deal with a missing poster?
I think that in I think that it's just a black silhouette. There's no picture and it's just a name. And it's I don't know what the
Interesting. Yeah,
third child's name might be, but it
just
might
a
be also
name.
just a
Just say a name. We can
name.
Yeah,
contextualize it in the theory.
yeah. Gonna just make up a random name here.
Morgan.
Morgan.
Or
Cool.
Elliot.
Love it. Hell yeah. Interesting. So that just fell out of a collection of magazines you've had for many years. Interesting, interesting. Okay. So with that in mind, Max and Sebastian, what is your like approach for wanting to investigate more of the Escondido Street?
Well, now that we've got that clue, we've got a missing poster. We've also got the picture of a third unknown child in the family. I feel like between those two, we have potential for investigation. We could try to find out who put out the ad in the magazine for the missing poster. And I'm wondering if we could go into La Fresca and check. Well, I don't know if we could, but if there is a third child out there, maybe we could look
Go
for
check like
a
county
birth certificate.
records.
Like
Yeah,
Oh,
like old school
yeah.
stuff like what are they called?
Go to
City
the seat of the county.
yeah,
census data.
Yeah.
census data.
Very, oh, that'd be an interesting one. Yeah.
I was also
Um,
wondering if we could maybe get into the hospital where the child would logically have been born and see if they have copies of birth
oh
certificates.
shit. Okay, we're taking the angle around like this is fascinating. Okay. Yeah,
Just to
that's
see if
all.
this is a legitimate picture or
Yeah,
not.
that's
Because
all stuff that's like,
Mhm.
oh, we're gonna have to drive to La Fresca. In which case, it's gonna be like your little day trip there. So you guys are hitting the road, heading up to La Fresca.
You gotta take your car, Sebastian. I don't think Calypso can make that trip right now.
yeah, no worries. This thing served me pretty well.
Sensible car puttering on up to La Fresca. Let's stay in Deep Lake for a moment. Everett, you drive with Father Rogelio's instructions to his church, Our Lady of Pure Waters. Let's talk about it. It is this like Spanish colonial style church made out of adobe, timber, and stone. The doorway is like a Moorish design, ornate brass. Um, and like on the inside, near the altar, is this enormous tile mosaic of Jesus Christ. Let's paint the scene, everyone. During the 16th century, Our Lady of Pure Waters was the site of a number of exorcisms and other battles with the forces of hell. What subtle evidence of those times can you see or feel even today?
In between the mosaic tiles of the big Jesus, there is dried blood. I was gonna try and be coy about it, but no, I'm just gonna say it's dried blood.
I think in the that around this church there's a fence and the fence has holy inscriptions on the back of each one of the wood panels.
Fence to keep things in, not out.
I'm thinking that maybe inside they've got the Stations of the Cross around the walls, and they were carved out of local trees many, many years ago when the church was first built. They're the oldest things in the building. And in the background of each one, because they got multiple people in each one, you can see a little imp or devil like peeking over someone's shoulder or something like that. The kind of thing you wouldn't notice unless you were really paying attention.
Oh well, welcome to my um welcome to
Yeah.
my ball and chain. It is for all the ills I sometimes feel in this place. It is a beauty. Old, genuine conquistador built. Old design. Seen some renovations, but it is one of the older places to be found here in Goya County.
Certainly looks very nice. I like the
Mm.
mosaic.
Yeah. Yes, it is a beautiful rendition. He's just kind of like standing there in the aisle, like looking awkwardly around, kind of like he doesn't really know what to do, like shuffles from one foot to the other. I apologize. I actually did not really know what to do from this point on. I project a lot of confidence when it comes to, well, all of this, but I feel like I am at a loss. Is there anything, I guess, you'd like to know? If anything that maybe you have an idea for how we can proceed from here?
So, I mean, you said she was here earlier.
Ah, yes, and she was last night. I was actually right where you are standing. She
Oh,
just stood right there. Yeah.
scoot over to the side. I look at the floor intensely, like it might give me answers, but
It's a
mm,
floor.
it is a floor. Uh, and she just came in here, stood here, then left.
She stood there. I guess you could say she looked catatonic. And I offered her water. I offered her a little bit of food that I had. She didn't respond to any of it. She just stood there. And when I went, rooting in the back, maybe I tried to call her family. Maybe they could come get her. And when I came back, she was gone. I think it had been a couple hours, but I I wish I could say that there was something grand and definitive about what she did that gives any hint for what might be afflicting her. But all I could tell you is that I had a feeling, a a bad feeling.
Hmm. Seems to be the sort of feeling around her. It's no good, I think, what's going on with her. I guess I'll take a look around outside to see if there's any sign of her. Maybe a stacking of her clothes, footprints.
Oh,
We didn't have any.
that is a good idea. I feel like that was an obvious one. I did not do it myself. All right. No, yes. Go go to look as you may. I will double check to make sure that I'm not missing anything that maybe I don't know. I'll look around myself.
Yes.
Inside
Is
and
there
outside.
another door she could have slipped in while you were in the back? Was
Not
she?
without me noticing.
All right. Well, I'll do my best to look outside, see if there's anything around.
Okay. And so you go outside. It's very warm today, but Our Ladies is pretty removed from most of the town as far as small towns go too. So it's just the occasional wind buffeting you by, sounds of the desert. How do you want to look around?
Hmm. I think since we established there's a fence, I'll probably just start circling around the fence and kind of like going inwards, almost like a spiral. I guess is there are there any entrances or exits outside too? Any like
Mm.
entrance to a cellar or anything?
Go ahead and give me the information or the meddling move in this game. Meddling move with your reason.
Very reasonable.
Very reasonable.
Have anything that can help me here? Certainly not.
What'd you roll?
Uh oh, I rolled a 9 plus 1, so 10.
10. Very good. Well, I'm going to give you two bits of information. One of these is a clue with a capital C, and one of these is just a lowercase c clue. The lowercase c clue is you actually do find footprints walking away from the church, just sort of into the surrounding desert nearby, away from the church. They match the sort of like, you know, the shoes that Linnea, was wearing. You can just even tell like just from the shape and size of them. It seemed a little bit of the pattern that was left behind as well. It's hard to say in like the desert dust, but you do see footprints. You actually find like a sense of, oh, she actually like walked this way. But
Crouch
as for a
down,
formal clue,
feel the dirt, converses, and off to the desert.
let's see. Hmm. There is in the garden, or rather in the ground surrounding the church, there's like a little, like tree that offers some of the surroundings a little bit of shade. It's sparse, it's a little, fenced in plot. It's an old growth, clearly, it's been around for many years, but it's like a smaller variety. Um, and the only thing notable about it is that there's something like, carved into it with a knife or some other sort of like implement. Um, you just see initials written into it. DR plus RM, the number 4 ever. I'll type that in the chat. But that's what's carved on the tree. You just take notice of that. Don't even necessarily think it is related, but we know it's a formal clue for this situation. What do you do?
I look out towards the desert where the footprints lead. I sigh. And I go talk to the father real quick so I don't just wander into the desert without saying anything.
Mm.
But I let him know that I found footprints and I'm gonna follow him.
Yeah, he looks out in that direction that they're leading off into, and he squints and he says, I think I know where she's going.
Oh, really? Where
And we better hurry. And so you head out. Meanwhile, Max and Sebastian, you guys are in the car, driving up the highway to La Fresca. It's a bit of a drive, so like, what's going on in the car here?
Well, I'm driving.
Do you control the radio?
Um, I don't mind sharing the knob.
Yeah. What kind of? I think I like always carry a couple of cassettes with me. I'm like, any I don't know. Since I knew I was going to be traveling with you, I'm like, I don't know why, but I got a vibe that you might like, and I put in it's Devo.
Okay, fine.
Do 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 do.
Whip it starts playing.
Whip It starts playing. Yeah, exactly. All right, you're just jamming to Whip It on the way
Yeah.
up.
Yep. Just kind of like I tap along and Sebastian, how's you got anything going on back home while you're out here in Old Nagoya County?
Not really. I do IT for the school district, and school's out at the moment, so I got nothing but time.
Oh yeah, man, that rocks. You can do your job from far away. Must be nice.
It has its perks. Most days I just sit in a little air-conditioned room below the somewhere in the basement with tons of computers around me that I gotta fix or some shit. Boxes
Yep,
and boxes of Cat 6 to run if I need to.
that does sound boring. Actually, fuck that. I get to listen to music all day. I sell people records. I get to look into a bunch of different things, but I had to save up a bunch of money, and after this, I'm going to be pretty broke. But at least I got a job waiting for me back home.
If you ever find a hidden gem somewhere in there, then you could be set for life. I heard of one record. I only know about this because one of my uncles was a kind of a music nerd. There was a record by the Beatles, Yesterday and Today, where they posed with a bunch of butcher meat and severed heads of baby dolls.
I've heard of that. Never seen it myself.
Neither have I. Be nice to, though.
And after a bit of a drive, you'll arrive in the town of La Fresca. The streets here are laid out on a neat grid, and you're seeing the first chain restaurants you've seen in weeks out here. There is a towering memorial dedicated to the people who lost their lives in the La Fresca Senior High fire of '86. Let's paint the scene. At a glance, how do you know La Fresca is the commercial and civic heart of DeGoya County?
I think they just have towering buildings. Like they actually have like buildings that are more than like 6 stories tall. And there's an actual downtown area, like kind there's an actual city here.
Unlike Deep Lake, the highways and the sidewalks are pulsating with life. There are people, there are cars. It's just busy.
When you pull off the freeway and get into town, it's one of those run-of-the-mill places that's nothing but car dealerships and fast food chains.
A McDonald's, a Burger King. Oh
Yeah,
shit,
the
there's
kind
not
of
a
thing where
Wendy's.
you take a picture of it and you can't tell where in the United States it is. It's just,
Every highway exit.
yeah.
So where to?
Okay, so the library in town leaves a lot to be desired, but here I'm willing to bet they keep backups of all the census data and assessors records and things like that from all the neighboring towns. So town hall might be a good place to start, or the public library. As for looking for the birth certificate of a child that may or may not have existed, first place I'd go would be the hospital, but the trick is getting them to let us to look through that stuff.
Yeah,
Not that we have to ask permission, but begging forgiveness in handcuffs is not on my to-do list today.
yeah, I'm not looking to exactly try and impersonate one of their family members. So uh I can head to the library and I could also like kind of ask around town if anyone knows about the Mendozas.
Worth a shot, I guess.
I
And
can look
I'll
up
hit up town hall for census data.
I'll see if they have like I don't know, maybe like an old family restaurant where they used to visit frequently.
Yeah.
They disappeared suddenly.
Let's start with Max. Max, you find yourself going to the DeGoya County Public Library. This is a much larger joint than the municipal library in Deep Lake. It is spacious and bright. This library is the result of a recent federal grant to improve literacy and reduce runaways in the county. There are 2 floors worth of book stacks, computers, and microfiche. It is stocked generously well for a desert community. To symbolically connect the region's past to its future, the facility's central reading area was constructed around a 15-foot tall column-like structure. It's been a part of the landscape for as long as anyone can remember. Might be something ancient, might be just like some sort of like avant-garde sculptor artist's prank, who knows. But as you arrive, a mismatched group of delinquents are here for some kind of summer detention. They look miserable, sipping from milk boxes and doodling on notebook paper. Um, Max, who sticks out to you? What social clique are they part of, and why does that fill you with anxiety?
Anxiety. I think I see a bunch of kids that look like how I used to. I used to have like real short hair on the sides, almost shaved to the skin, huge mohawk, piercings. Like they look like a bunch of like little punk rock kids. Uh, they used to get into like a lot of trouble, like usually like throwing rocks into windows and stuff. So I'm just like, ugh. I just like kind of feel that.
And what would you like to do?
I guess I'll head over to like a computer and start looking into like an easier way of finding like class records of like Deep Lake, see if their kid was even there, maybe looking up, you know, uh old newspapers in the microfiche and trying to find like because they usually have like births and deaths in the backs of newspapers. And so for the whole county, it's not that huge of a county, but it's like they'd include Deep Lake too, I figure.
Hmm. When you hop on the computer and like use like the library like public guest
Mhm.
account or whatever, the first thing that like pops up by default when you just open up the computer itself is a memorial page, kind of like matching the sort of like gargantuan monument about the victims, the lives lost, so the fire of '86. And very much in this case, it's just like a plastered sort of like more detail on that. Just kind of it's very front and center. This town seems to care a lot about memorializing that. But yeah, it was back in 1986. The La
Well,
Fresca Senior High prom ended abruptly when a fire broke out mid-dance in the gymnasium. Over 100 students and teachers lost their lives in that incident. Um,
does it have a list of names?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably does. Yeah, there's a whole memorial wall of like various like people on there. You actually remember this event as you were a little kid in Deep Lake when it happened. You remember
Mhm.
hearing about this. This is probably your first time like actually like diving into like the specifics. Yeah, there's like a name of just like, over 100 names there, students and teachers alike.
Uh, looking through that list, does any names like stand out to me?
Mm. In what way?
Uh, I don't know. Do I see like the last name Mendoza or
Oh, interesting. Interesting indeed. Maybe. There are a
maybe
lot
it's
of
like
names on there.
yeah.
But what does um come to mind is, well, so while you're on that note,
Mhm.
something else that's noteworthy is the fact that there are like a few comments like left on sort of like a page for this, just like sort of like
Like a
like
forum
visiting
page,
users,
like
like forum
yeah.
page and all that. It's actually kind of like a little bit like there's like a Deep Lake, or a La Fresca gadabout kind of like little like local forum for the nascent internet community, especially helped out with this library. Um, and this is echoing quite well with some things that Dahlia was doing previously. But there is chatter around the fire of '86, and to the point where there's some like weird details about it because maybe as you'll scroll and you'll see that not all of the people who died of burns or smoke inhalation. There's actually fairly credible reports, and you're sifting through probably various people commenting about this, who died from blunt force trauma. Some even had wounds that suggested an animal attack. One was found decapitated. And so, got that like local conspiracy thing going on of like people just being like very few people. Most people in La Fresca are just generally like clearly not really on this web page or whatever. But there are just groups of people who are probably like, sifting and like lingering on that, just being like, it's like never forget,
Urban
they build
legends
so they can
again.
hide, you know?
Yeah. In that, like, what? Yeah, I guess like seeing all that. That's you. Hmm. Well, I wonder what the theme of the prom was. But anyways, yeah, I'll continue looking through and trying to find anything else that I can
You
on.
begin to sift through the internet. Meanwhile, Sebastian, you head over to the city hall for La Fresca. It's a very beautiful day outside. There's a green lawn and a quad. Some kids are, running around. There's a couple having a picnic. Someone's flying a kite. Um, and the building is like open for all intents and purposes. You walk inside, find a little reception, just like like the public information section for the town hall, and there's a little clerk behind it, little yellow sweater vest, rolled up sleeves, just being like, "Hey, hi, can I help you?"
Yeah,
Very perky sort of guy.
looking for the town clerk's office, please.
Yep, you found him.
Good. I need to request a copy of my birth certificate.
Oh, yeah, no, we can absolutely help you with that. Can I I got all the forms for you. Can you just like have a seat? We'll come get you in a few.
Sure, thanks.
You go off and you sit for a while and are just now being held at the mercy and the whims of bureaucracy in a small town's in a county seat, really. Yeah, as you're waiting. Um,
Now, based on what I've seen so far, are they gonna let me like back there to get my thing, or are they gonna? They're probably just gonna go back there and dig through it themselves, right?
they're probably gonna go dig through it themselves. Yeah, like once they get you like the forms from you.
Okay. Because I know the name that I want to look up, but
Mm,
they won't let me unless I provide ID that matches that name.
hmm
Looking for my own birth certificate is just a cover.
hmm Well, while you mull over the possibilities of how you might want to handle this, let's take a short break.
Okay.
Sebastian, while you're sitting waiting for the clerk to bring you just like the paperwork and like put in like, just the requests and all that for what you're looking for, you're kind of like formulating about how you might approach this when you hear a voice that is probably most unwelcome to hear right now. You hear, "Oh my goodness, what are the odds?" And you can see Patience Head here in La Fresca in the town hall, like, handbag over one shoulder, still the obnoxious, like, clunky jewelry, in her helmet hair. She like turns and like, is gabbing about with like a group of other similarly looking awful people. And she kind of like splits off from them. She kind of like, walks halfway and says, "Hi, what are the odds of stumbling into you here? Do you work out of the county seat?"
No, just here to request some documents.
Oh my goodness. What are the odds? May I ask what documents you're here for? I hopefully there's nothing troubling going on with your mission or your church.
No, just getting a copy of my birth certificate.
Oh. Oh, you were born here in Degoya County.
Yeah.
Oh, well, how fun. Um, well, I was just here for the local presidents of the HOA. We have a little get together once every few weeks. We're getting ready for the Independence Day weekend plans. I know it's a few weeks out now, but well, we're just getting some things together. Maybe you'd like to participate in some way. It just so happens that we meet in public like this.
Well, certainly beats him out in the paperwork, and looks like he's gone on his break, so I don't think he's expecting me back anytime soon. Uh, yeah, I can spare a few minutes if you want.
Oh, sure, certainly. That would be lovely. Everyone else is going off to get a little bit of like a lunch, but I think that I'm a little, tapped out for company today. I'd love to know more about you, though. So you were born here in the county, and now you're a missionary? What church are you out of?
Latter-day Saints. Have you given any thought to the kingdom of heaven?
Not a lot of Mormon churches around these parts. I wasn't familiar with any. I gotta tell you that well, I drink from a different chalice if you take my meaning. No offense, of course. I
None
mean,
taken.
it's certainly no business of mine what people get up to in the privacy of their own churches. She's like looking at you like she's expecting you to talk more about your past and yourself.
I mean, yeah,
Okay, very fun. Wonderful. Can I so I'm I've been terribly curious these last few days. Maybe you could help scratch the itch. Debbie Mendoza is not really what you'd call like a team player, not the friendliest neighbor out of the Mr. Rogers bunch, if you take my meaning. I mean, I'm just so curious. I've been trying to chat her up for years now to convince her to let go of that awful building, and she just lets you in. What's your secret? I'm surprised she didn't like draw a gun on you or something. Not that I think she owns one, but she has that vibe. She's a very, not really not really the sort that I'd like to invite over to you know, the block party if you take my meaning.
interesting. I just heard a weird story about a block party not too long ago,
Oh
but
my
that's neither
gosh,
here
I
nor
heard
there.
about the murder. Oh, terrible. This is why it's important to have capable representational local leadership.
I suppose so. We don't have an HOA back in Des Moines where I'm from, but we get by well enough. Anyway, what was that you were saying? You were trying to get her to get rid of that house. Do you mean her house or her?
No, 18. It's her brother and his family used to live there. They've been gone for a little over a decade now, and it is an absolute eyesore. It is something that I've been trying to get condemned. Teenagers, local kids go in thinking they can play around in there, but it's dangerous. I mean, like, it's old and it's probably not very safe. And well, for whatever reasons, Debbie just can't let go of the past. I mean,
It's part of the
it's
healing
certainly
journey, I'm
no
sure,
business of
but
mine what people get up to in the privacy of their own homes. But as the president of the HOA, I have a responsibility to keep an eye on what's happening outside the houses of my community. I mean, what sort of neighbor would I be? What sort of community leader would I be if I didn't stay abreast of the local happenings?
indeed. Honestly, I think the best thing you could do for her to be a good neighbor, I mean, taking care of eyesores and houses that are condemned is one thing, but better to attend to the spiritual and emotional well-being of our neighbors. That's always what I found is the best way to get on someone's good side. Believe me, after trying to spread the word of our Lord to people, not everyone's as uh accepting as you are about it, even if it's not their thing. Believe me, I've had more than my fair share of doors slammed in my face. But being personable and receptive to what people need rather than what we think they need is the best way to schmooze them, for lack of a better word.
Hmm. I don't completely follow, but I think I hear the spirit of what you're saying.
Okay. Now,
So, yeah,
while
go
this
ahead.
conversation is going on, um, is there anything about her person that she might potentially drop or leave behind, even if it's like I don't know, a hairpin, scrunchie on the wrist? I don't.
Well, I'll say. The chances of her dropping something like that are slim, but the possibility of you arranging for said thing to maybe happen, well, that could be a day move if you're willingly trying to like get her to like, drop something or like, fucking pick up her purse or whatever while she's not looking. I don't know.
I got an idea. What if
Okay.
let's say we're walking along the hallway. I drop some of the paperwork in front of me, like it just slips off the pile. I slip on it and knock her over, and the contents of her purse go spilling out over the floor.
Oh, okay. So that's what you're hoping to have happen. Well, it is the day move here. What are you afraid of happening should you fail?
Okay, this is gonna sound so stupid. I'm afraid of having an anime moment here.
Extrapolate, expound.
um, we land in a compromising position, which would not be good for a missionary.
Ah, yes, indeed. This is the whole faux pas, social faux pas, the real most dangerous threat of public access. I thought
I'm crossing genres here.
now we're playing Good Society. Incredible. This will be your day move. Honestly, I think with like vitality just to like sell the like force of the actual fall and like make it tumble enough that it things sprawl out, right? Um, like you're trying to cause a bit of confusion. So I think that just actually using your vitality and plus you wouldn't want to get hurt. Uh, you're not going to have disadvantage from being marked by Patient's Head because that condition is why this scene is happening, but it's not getting in the direct way of this attempt yourself. So you can go ahead and roll flat.
Okay, don't let me down. And that is cocked. That too is cocked. Oh my god. Okay,
Cocked dice all around.
that's better. Okay, 5 out of 2 is 7.
7. If you do this, here's how you're going to be vulnerable. Um, is that you will accomplish what you were looking for, but Sheriff Hanscom is also here because he's, county sheriff. He's walking by. He's going to see you do this. And he won't, not you don't know if he's going to say anything about it, but like Sheriff Hanscom will see you doing this. And but otherwise, Patient's Head will be none the wiser. Do you proceed?
I will.
Okay. Then in that case, exactly as you described, you slip on the papers, you go tumbling into her. She lets out like a cry, like, good gracious! And just her purse goes shattering to the ground. She hits it, some of her jewelry scatters. You really sell this fall. Though, you maybe land a little bit too hard, but thankfully it's nothing that's going to leave a bruise or at
My
least not a
elbow a bit.
compromising one. Yeah, just ding your elbow a little bit. We see that like in the background, like Sheriff Hanscom is just like walking by, probably on some like, county business, stops, he like sees you. This is before the fall happened, sees you and is about to like, walk over and say hello before this like display happens. His eyebrows go up. He's about to like run to go help, but then he stops and sees you go like rooting around
Oh, I'm
before
not
her.
rooting
Oh,
around
you're not
here.
rooting around. What do you do?
Everything goes scattering. I'm kind of getting up and accidentally tap something with my foot so it goes skittering across the floor and under a baseboard heater or something.
Hmm.
Like just a tube of lipstick or whatever.
Yeah. I think like that just goes rolling off. She doesn't notice, but we see that, Hanscom does. Like he like catches your foot, kicking it. Like he seems confused, but he's standing there off to the side, not sure to make of this. But like, Patience is like getting back up, like, like brushing herself. It's like, oh my goodness.
I am so
Oh, my
sorry. God,
jewelry.
hang
You
on.
need to.
Let's get all this up. Make sure we
Yes.
didn't lose anything.
No, I'm fine. Thank you. I got it. She begins to like pick things up and says, goodness. Well, I
Saints
hope that
preserve us.
whatever's going on with you, maybe get some rest or a nice meal. Oh, maybe you're working a little too hard for the Lord, if you know what I mean. Hmm?
No such thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, Lovely chat. Best of luck. Ah, great.
Hope your day improves.
And she just kind of like, like saunters off. This is where like Sheriff Hanscom is coming now to walk over as he just goes, "So what's that I hear about you being a missionary?
Church of Latter-day Saints. I've
Except you're
met my quota for the summer, so
Yeah, you're definitely not Latter-day Saints." And he kind
well,
of like gives a like nod towards the baseboard heaters where you kicked off the lipstick and says, "I got an eye." And it was a very deliberate, albeit confusing, little act of legerdemain there. Not sure what you had to gain from that, but maybe you and I should have a talk.
what do you mean?
He gives you he gives you that look that only like certain like small town cops can give you, which is like, do you really want to make this the issue or do you want to play straight with me?
Okay, fine. I'm not Latter-day Saints. I just told her that to make her leave last time I saw her.
Listen, I'm not going to hold that against you. Patient's head is, well, she's Patient's head. And I'm sure that that bit was fine, but I mean, I got to know. What's with the lipstick, man? Why'd you kick that off? That was a very deliberate display just now.
I'm petty. I'm rather petty.
I see. And gives that slow nod and says,
I mean,
but
you've
you weren't.
spoken to this woman, I'm sure. Imagine the look on her face when she discovers it missing.
Hmm. Well, I can't deny, but
Is it something that a missionary of God would do? Perhaps not, but
listen, I'm gonna turn a blind eye to this little petty display, whatever you're getting out of it. But if this is the kind of thing that's gonna maybe get other people, yourself or others, into some kind of trouble, I'm gonna be around. All right?
I'm not the one to make messes of people's lives or anything like that.
Let's hope so. He walks over to the baseboards and goes to pick up the lipstick. He like holds up and says, "Next time I'm rolling by Escondido, I'll tell her I found this in the she dropped it, county seat. I know it's her shade."
I'm sure she'll be very happy to see it again.
Hmm. Well, he just begins to walk off. Uh, because of all this, you will also now be marked by Sheriff Hanscom because he's got his eye on you. You're petty, you're doing things, and he's not sure what to make of you yet. Oh. Meanwhile, Everett, you and Father Rogelio are out by a very dry gorge, kind of in the desert on the outskirts of town. And there is this old truss bridge that spans it, wood planks and rusted steels, the kind that's only like wide enough for two cars. It is referred to simply and somewhat ominously as La Tristeza. Let's paint the scene. La Tristeza gets its name, meaning the sadness, from the large number of suicides it has hosted over the decades. What evidence of this dark history can be seen?
Is this location wise?
Just like in like the desert outside of Deep Lake.
And what was our paint the scene question?
That
The bridge gets its name from the large number of suicides it has hosted over the decades. What evidence of this dark history can be seen?
at the bottom of the bridge, uh, the sand at the bottom is a darker color. It's permanently stained.
I think on the railing, there are spots where the paint has been worn off. from frequent use or repeated use.
Think there's an odd tradition or compulsion, much like the Lovers Bridge, where they like put locks on the fence. I think there's a lock that people put on before they jump off, and it is full of locks.
Now, as you and Rogelio come pulling up, there is a person standing at the edge of the bridge looking over the edge. It's Linnea Rodenbecker. Blonde hair, pulled up into a ponytail, still wearing the exact clothes from the slumber party, pink cardigan and chinos. She is just standing looking over the edge as you come pulling up. What do you do?
I jump out of the car and I'm like, Linnea, oh my god, Linnea, don't. Are you okay? Don't stop, Linnea. What are you doing?
You come running up, and Father Rogelio is behind you, jogging. You run up, and Linnea is just the exact same as when you saw her at the slumber party, vacant-eyed, catatonic, not responding, just looking blankly over the edge of the bridge. No response to you.
When I reach her, can I kind of gently pull her back from the edge?
You can. She's entirely non-responsive.
Wow, this is Linnea. I don't smack her, but I kind of pat her face.
You tap at her. You know, she moves just a little bit from it, but exhibits no reaction, just vacant eyes, staring, glazed.
Well, I'm glad that you said we should hurry. I don't know what would have happened if we got here a little later.
Yeah, this place, it's not well, it's a bit infamous. And like Father Rogelio like walks over and he's like, looking over Linnea as well. He looks at you and he says, I think that there's something deeper going on here. I think wherever she's going, it is these places are somehow of significance to whatever is affecting her. These places, my church, the bridge, wherever she was before that. I don't know what more we can do. Um, but perhaps I will watch Linnea appear. Maybe you look for clues. That sounds silly to say like that, but you know what I mean. It is maybe we can understand her better if we look around and understand why this place might be significant and what it might mean for her.
Yeah, there might be something. I wonder if it's something to do with death, but yeah. Don't take your hands off of her. I'm a bit worried. I think Everett looks around and then looks down where she was looking, kind of sighs, and says, well, I should get to walking. And I'm gonna try and find a way down to the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, it's an old truss bridge, a dry gorge. It's probably not the safest means down, but it's not directly perilous. It is a big enough fall that people could get could die upon impact. Um, I don't think if you're moving, you're not under pressure, so I think that you can probably, if you want to get down there, you can. It'll just take time. If you want to do it like a little bit faster to maybe, you know, make good time on this, then it would be the day move. But if you have no reason to hurry, then I think you can just kind of like eat up a lot of time shimmying down there.
My I feel like I don't want to be here at night. Is there any worry of that if I take my time?
Mm, you'd be like maybe like leaving, not, I don't think you'd be here before nightfall, but you definitely would be like, you know, burning daylight out here.
Yeah, I'll take it slow.
Okay,
Good
you'll
enough.
take it slow. You'll eat up
I'll
the rest
take
of your time.
Yep.
You start making your way down there. Back at the library, Max, you've been on the computer following different threads. What is your current point of investigation now? You're muted.
I think I'm just trying to find out if there are like any connections to like the Mendozas, like if there was like old school records that I could look up of like class photos of like I know the other kids' age and it looked like the third sibling was like maybe like older.
Mm,
And so like I start looking into like kids a couple years older, those kind of class photos
totally.
from like Deep Lakes like elementary schools.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. You can give me your meddling move with reason. Again, this is 2004. The internet is not the most capable and interesting thing yet, but this is the county seat, so there's a lot of stuff that's just happened, and there's information about the towns of White Spray and Devilwood and all and Deep Lake itself, and just like there's all sorts of like little community threads pulled here.
That's a 6 and a 1, so 7.
7, clue with a complication. Take a look at my list of clues here. And let's see what clues I've already doled out for this one so far. You spend a lot of time poring over things, um, and you find not a lot. Like, again, this is not a great resource. It's really just kind of eating up your time. You start to get like a migraine. You have to, from just like looking at the screens and just like focusing. You're hitting dead end after dead end after dead end, just hearing the clickety click 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 of the keyboard over
God, this
hours.
thing's
Um, yeah. Let's give you the condition drained just from the ordeals of just going through all of this stuff. But you still find a clue, and the clue does not come from the computer side of things. It's while you're sort of like wrapping up and like you've moving through the library again. You're on a lark of just like what could happen, right? Like maybe there's something here before you give
yeah.
up. And I'm not 100% certain how this will I'll cleanly segue into this, but I'll tell you what it is. It is maybe through sheer luck, maybe because you think to look on it just through the libraries, like publicly available like records, when you like are just like maybe I'm gonna look up the Mendozas and their library records, even though this
Yeah.
library is more recent. There's been an older library. There was an older library before this one, before it got all spiffied up. So maybe the Mendozas, they frequented a public library too. There's so many possibilities, and you expect more dead ends. And somehow through this, you will actually find, um, maybe you talk with
Librarian or so.
a librarian. Maybe you talk with someone. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna kind of like talk around it, and we'll give you the clue, which is to say that there is a book that was checked out of the library many, many years ago, under the Mendoza's name. This was, before, like, just before their disappearance, or right around that time. This is like a lucky find, and that it was every available copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was checked out by Sherry Mendoza the week before they disappeared.
Mhm. I think as I'm kind of like looking around, I know that because I'm guessing like when they went and investigated the house, like maybe they had seen the books and returned them to the library. I think that like I go through the library just kind of looking around and I see like that children's section of the library.
Hmm. Hmm.
I see that there are a couple of armchairs. They have like all these different like like nature scenes that are painted on the walls, and there's some cardboard cutouts of trees. And I go over to like the books. I'm like, oh shit, Lion Wish in the Wardrobe. I open it up and I see that the very first ones, one or two checkouts were
Oh, that's a
Mendoza,
great way to have
Mendoza,
this clue be
Mendoza.
featured. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like out of the stack of them, I'm like, wait a minute, that's weird.
Yes. Okay. That's a great narrative contextualization for that. Yeah. Thank you.
Because I knew they had kids, and I was like, well,
Mhm.
maybe like who knows? I start looking through the kids' books, seeing if I can
Yeah.
find anything.
And then just by sheer happenstance, you like flip through books and you're like Mendoza, 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 and just like all checked out so many times.
Mhm.
So that's your actual clue. That comes after hours spent digging
On the computer.
through the computers, the net, frustratingly.
Hell yeah.
And Sebastian, the clerk will come back by you later and says, "Well, I think we have everything we need. Was there anything else you had to submit to us?"
I had this crazy idea of how to get back there, but
I'm into it. Let's hear it.
well, I was thinking of abandoning the plan anyway and just
Oh,
falling back on my "you never know what you're gonna get" move.
very true.
Um, yeah, I think I'll just go with that.
Well, where are you doing research?
Yeah, that's the
Just
trick though. Because
you
he's
don't
not
you
gonna let
don't
me back there.
you don't yeah, I mean like to birth records probably not, but I mean like there are like probably like publicly available like old records if you want to abandon the course of the birth certificate thing and just go through like town records.
I mean, census records are public
Yeah,
domain.
census records are public domain.
Why didn't I think of that first?
It's like
All
you're
that shit
realizing
just to get the police eyeing me, and now I can just do
yeah,
this.
it's like you realizing like why the fuck did I do that? It's like why did I do all that? And so then you just like relegate, you were like I wasted all this time. Now you're just in like the census records trying to dig through what you can. I'm into it. Um, this is kind of like a last ditch effort, hoping that you can like find something through old records. You've done this enough now between the municipal library. Now, like you're gonna do like the city hall stuff. This is probably like your last ditch effort of hoping you find something worthwhile here. So you can
Yeah.
give me the meddling move with your reason.
That is a number seven. Another seven plus one is eight.
And then you have the +1 to your reason, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a total of eight.
Oh, total of 8. Okay, very cool. Clue with a complication. And you get 2 clues because of your background. Oh my God. Now, these are both gonna you want these both on you're looking into census records for just like everything involving Escondido Street, the Mendozas. So let's
Yeah,
see
so
here.
census data is taken every 10 years,
Hmm.
and it's about who's living at what address at the particular date in question. I think it's April 1st that they usually go for. And so you can break it gets down to like, are these folks Polish or Mexican American, African American, things like that. So, and it would have been done every decade, how
Hmm.
many were living there. So let's see. When did they disappear?
10 years ago.
Okay, so 1994. So
Hmm.
the most recent data before that would have been in 1990, and then 1980 before that. And I'm looking for anything that might be connected to this extra child that
Mm.
we saw in the picture.
This is a good question.
Yeah, so how old was the kid in question, Elliot,
Elliot was 10.
in 1994? Okay, born in 84. So,
What sort of details do census records tend to give?
it's really just demographical data. So
Yeah.
you're getting a head count to
Yeah.
decide how many
Mhm.
representatives the state might get in House of
Here's
Representatives.
here's what I'll say,
Or
right? So this is what you get is from the census records doesn't help you much in this domain. You know you're getting like maybe there are answers, but they're not like formal clues. Maybe whatever you get from the census records you can use for contextualizing your theories in that regard about the numbers of people. The clues you're going to get don't actually have anything to do with the census themselves and are just going to be additional details, right? Because how many clues are we at right now? And you're just going to get two. You guys are about to fucking blast this thing wide open, I'm sure. Because you have
another
six at the
thing
moment.
that could happen, I could find maybe a side door that goes from this room into the next room, and that's where the birth certificates are.
I think I'm going to keep it into the set, just in the fact that
Okay.
you're pouring through just publicly available records. But I'm a little stumped at the moment. I have ideas. I'm just don't want to thinking of some stuff right now. About how I want to present these clues. Um, Here's something bizarre, right? That'll come up in your searching, not necessarily from the census information, but like you go from census information to maybe like property information, just like whatever's publicly available, right? Um there's like a I'm gonna need a minute to think. I'm gonna take a quick little break here while I think about this. Okay, I got it. So the first clue you get, this is a bit of a walk with me here. This is a clue that not necessarily you are getting from going through the census files, but is a clue that we are retroactively also filling in the blanks with like things Max and Everett saw, but now we're actually shining a light on, which is to say when Max and Everett were previously at the house, they would have noticed that, most family homes, there were height marks for the children on the door, very meticulously, right? However, the one year is a missing on Abigail Mendoza's, and it is his older sister. And the year her height is was missing that maybe Max and Everett saw but didn't really clock. We, the viewer, the audience, right? It's the same year that census was taken. The same year someone came to their house, did the 10-year census is the same year that one missing height mark was. Weird. Sebastian has no idea that this is a thing, and then it's not even a detail, but this is a clue that you are getting into the narrative here.
Mhm.
Second clue, more direct and bizarre, which is as you're flipping through the parts of the public records where it concerns Escondido Street, you're pulling open a filing cabinet and you find not the more of the files you're looking for, but just like stacks of just comic books that have been left in the file, like just like dropped in here, and you can pull them out and be like, who left these in the town hall? And you can like flip through them, and they're old comic books, and like they're written in like people have written like you know various like messages in the margins to each other, kind of like cutesy kid stuff. But why this is here is a layer of weirdness that doesn't seem at all relevant, but you can't shake the feeling it is. But because you got a 7 to 9, I'm going to give you a condition. I'm going to fill you back up, unless, of course, you choose to turn a key and avoid this, which is I'm going to give you the condition none of this makes sense. You have been following up so many leads, and weird shit keeps coming up. Do you want to take that condition, or will you turn a key? Because I'll remind you, we do have the key of this mystery available in addition to your own keys.
I'll turn the Key of Desolation, the Sandstone Arch.
All right, all okay. Turn the first key of distillation. So in that case, you do not take the condition, but that is your clues that you find. It does eat up the rest of your activity here. But you spend a lot of time pouring through these censuses and like publicly available records in a similar way to Max the Library. Not a lot of directly useful stuff, but there's just a couple of like small things that are happening that are just weird. Every time you guys look into this house, you just find something weird. But meanwhile, as the sun is starting to get a little bit low, Everett, you're at the bottom of the gorge beneath La Tristeza Bridge. As we've had it described, you know that this is a place where many people have leapt to their death for whatever reasons that weigh heavy on them. What do you do?
He's hot. He's very dusty. He's sweating. His pants are ripped. They were expensive pants. He looks around. I don't think there's probably anything obvious down here. So he looks back up at the bridge. Tries to like line up to where they're standing. And I think he kind of starts to dig in the dirt.
As you're digging in the dirt, just pulling away clumps of dry earth, the wind comes down through the gorge. You catch a whiff of cigarettes. And you hear a voice. Can sadness
Oh my God!
weigh so heavy that it sinks into the very soil? And you can leap up and you see that in the shadow of the bridge, there is just an old, battered, discarded, just yellowed armchair that's someone threw out of the car or something, or just collected in a trash heap. And just sitting on the chair is that big man just smoking. And his he's a little something off about him in a very small way. It's hard to say. His limbs are, now that you see him sitting down, and the kind of contours of his overlarge suit kind of pull up against the legs and the shoulders. His limbs are long. He has these long legs beneath his Volk, and these long arms that almost just too long, that normally are hidden and when he's standing in his suit as you've seen him. But that you just catch that detail now that you see him in a strange position. He's sitting there smoking, and he says, "I wonder if the folks who leapt from atop this here bridge that the folks have deigned to call the sadness, if they felt a pulling, if the weight of what lurks beneath the earth reached up back to them and said, 'Let me unshackle you of your burdens.' One can speculate any number of reasons why the folks have done what they did. But here you are now, at the bottom of a gorge, having not flung yourself, but carefully crawled down the sloping sides in hopes of finding something to unearth, a clue perhaps."
Everett puts his hands on his hips. Is this how you're going to appear, Everett? Can you give me a warning? Can
I'm
you
in no
knock?
position to
call?
warn you. I simply appear where I am told to appear, where I am destined to arrive.
And who told you to appear here?
Well, if you have to ask yourself that question, young man, you haven't been paying attention yet. Now heed my words most clearly now. You will not find anything at the bottom of this gorge, but I can tell you exactly where young Miss Linnea is gonna be heading next, especially if you're not too hasty in your investigations. He smokes again. She's walking, and I can relate. I've done a great deal of walking, but where she's heading to, it's a more final destination.
Well, I guess You did say the thing about finding Christ, and there's a Father above us. So, I mean, if I'm not going to find anything here, I'd love to hear any advice you've got. Any tips, clues, as you put them?
He like you ask for advice and he just like takes a drag from his cigarette and leans back into the chair. You can hear it like creaking and groaning beneath his bulk. And he like lets that sit out in silence for a long time as he's looking off, thinking. I'm not one particularly given to imparting my advice, except in little breadcrumbs for you to follow. There's a great stirring. You have to do a lot of the legwork yourself if the events are to proceed as intended. But hearken this. I recently beheld a red moon. It was blood red, like a bullet hole in the sky. And then I looked all around me and I saw dead things in the earth rising up to witness this bloody moon, or perhaps to worship it. And the veil between worlds, between different realities, between different dimensions, between the land of the living and the dead, was as thin as I'd ever seen it. It was gossamer. It was mist. I could press my finger into it and feel its feverish yielding. But the red moon was neither cause nor symptom. It was an augur.
And that's my breadcrumb. Well, I guess thank you. Even if it is very cryptic and not incredibly helpful. Or maybe it is very helpful and I just don't know it yet. That's where she'll be heading next. Or whatever's inside of her will be heading next.
Go to where the dead things lie. It's where she's bound for next. But beware, beware the pig. Oh, pardon me. I've gone and given myself a case of the giggles.
They're really creepy giggles. Sorry, that wasn't very nice of me. I'm very hot. It was a horrible climb. And now you're
Anything
telling me,
down there? And you like look up. He's like Father Rahel. He's like leaning over. You okay? And when you look back, big man's gone.
nope, nothing down here. Nothing at all.
I think this will wrap our day phase. Let's go into the dusk. Well, we have found no more Odyssey tapes, but we have at this moment 8 clues on Escondido Street. Would anyone do we want to answer this question?
I think so.
All right, let's take a look at it. So the question again is, what happened to the Mendozas? This is a very weird series of events that we're walking up to here. But let's look at all the available ones. That around the time of the Mendoza's disappearance, there are articles about house break-ins that were carefully hidden. The gouges in the walls of 18 Escondido were made by an axe. A picture of this unknown third child. The threatening messages on Mendoza's answering machine, something about money. The Morgan missing poster. The whole Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe checked out library right around they disappeared. Like the year that Abigail's height should have been marked was the year of the census, and that's a year that her height's missing. And then stacks of comic books just left in the filing cabinets with messages in the margins. What the fuck happened? And what does this have to do with anything?
Okay.
And if you guys cannot figure this out, that's fine. We'll just keep going until you get clues that give you a fucking idea. This is probably one of the more esoteric collections of clues that I think we as a playgroup have had to deal with, and I'm kind of excited to see if anything comes of that right now.
So
Yeah, honestly, it feels like some of them point towards different kinds of solutions.
I have a theory, or at least the beginnings of a theory. I have been thinking about this.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'll lay out the base first. Walk with me here, as Alex said. The things we have seen on Escondido Street, something very evil, There is some time fuckery, perhaps. There's perhaps some reality fuckery, dimension fuck. Like, there's clearly something going on there. I think that Sherry Mendoza had a miscarriage for a third child. And whatever this entity was, promised her a life with this child or promised to bring this child back and sort of corrupted her and turned her into a sort of servant for her. The proof of it is this third unknown child. It was a photograph given to her. And then I think she started doing some shifty shit for it. Of which I am still piecing together. I think the missing poster, Morgan Mendoza, is also from this alternate timeline, alternate reality.
They're grabbing him from a different one and to pull him into this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think there is something to do with doors and closets, because that's where we found Elliot's door.
Yeah, with all the tick marks.
Hence the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Maybe Abigail went missing inside of one of those like alternate places the year that the census was taken.
Yep. And she came back.
That census would have been taken in 1990, so 4 years before they disappeared. And so, like, you know, implying that there might be stuff that's happening, not necessarily in sequence with whatever Sherry's doing, because it seems like Sherry's having a whole thing happens like possibly like last in the chronology of things. We're like very late in the chronology. But there are clues that suggest like, oh, weird stuff was happening in the house, but like, yeah, there's like all these like loose pieces of like how do they fit into like the broader theory of what was happening here? How do they make sense?
Yeah, so we've got a kind of gate to an alternate dimension in a closet. Now, what about these comic books?
I think that might have been left by like the alternate universe Morgan, and maybe Elliot stumbled upon them at some point, and like that's where like his name was written in the margins too, was Morgan and Elliot, and they kind of communicated through that.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty cool. That's yeah, the idea of like communicating with like the alters is fun. And then like how the hell did it end up in the next town over in the town hall?
I think maybe Abigail in this like trying to find like Morgan in a way to bring him here. She like was trying to find like pieces of him. And so like they had to be in a certain place to make like this big ritual circle, which all lined up with their house.
As for how they got to that Hall of Records in La Presca, perhaps during the investigation after they all disappeared, they were kept as a kind of piece of evidence, and the folks just didn't know what to do with them.
They could have
so
just ended up there by
hands.
accident, right? Like they just like
Yeah.
it's like through just bureaucratic shuffling, they ended up there. I mean, that probably makes the most sense for them too, of being like, oh, like these things taken from the house just kind of ended up here through negligence and just a mistake, and it's kind of lucky that you stumbled onto them. That feels like it makes the most sense. I feel like that is like the strongest
Yeah,
clue.
that does kind of happen.
Yeah, that does. I think that at least for now, right? Using that as like, all right, cool. This is showing like, oh, Elliot and like the third communicating through comics, right? Or like, by writing like notes to each other is like a strong suggestion there. It's a strong, part of the theory here. So it's easy to explain like how they ended up in the filing cabinet. So like the big crux of all this is like what happened to the family, right? Because they all just up and disappeared. And so have a strong foundation so far of just like this idea that it's like, all right, cool. Like we know that the house is evil, and more specifically, that the evil's probably in the land, and whatever the fuck it was using Sherry, or rather, it like lured in some way by the promise of like the complete. I like the detail about her having like a miscarriage, right? Like even though there's not like clues to support that, it's there's enough peripheral stuff where we can like see how that could have come to the fore. So like a third child is like a strong like lure into things happening, but like I'm not entirely yet sold on all the pieces that we've come up with yet. But I want you guys to keep talking. I want to hear
All
like
right.
let's
So as
chew
for
this
what
out.
happened to them, perhaps the house is built on a kind of thin place between dimensions, and for whatever reason, when the two dimensions touch, they just don't agree with each other, like touching poison ivy or something. Hence all the stuff in the land that creeps up into the house. And so, yeah,
Maybe like the gouges in the walls weren't made by this one's. Uh, I think that's maybe. Yeah, where did they go? What happened to them? Maybe they all ended up in a different dimension, honestly.
that's kind of what
Yeah,
I'm leaning towards. Like
I think
the
they.
veil kind of got torn right there by
Oh,
her
like
communicating with the other side.
the gouges in the walls are not from this reality. It's like there's like a an overlapping bleed effect where it's like things that happen in one reality have like come onto this one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My thought for the axe gouges was just Sherry trying to get at what's ever in the walls.
Oh, that's also a good possible angle too. There's that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Um,
Thinking that is the house that's took her kids or that won't give it to her.
yeah, the fact that like this missing poster for like this Morgan person, um,
I don't think it was her kid. I think she'd used that kid as a sacrifice.
I was literally about to say like I think the idea of it being like I think it's more interesting if it was like because we're like we have a couple details where like oh Sherry did some stuff here at the end, right? So it's like maybe that's like a local kid, not like in Mendoza that was like
Hmm.
she fucking nabbed or
Yeah,
something
she
like
nabbed a
and
kid.
like and kidnapped kids and kidnapped a kid and did something with it for the sake of
Oh,
the
and that's what
house.
that could be with the break-ins where it was Sherry like casing the kids, like
And
Oh,
then like the reason
uh
like why Hugh ended up reporting like oh this fucking break-in it wasn't a break-in she was like sneaking back in and just it
mhm.
he
and he was covering for her.
is the
Oh,
implication that Hugh was in on it? Oh,
Ooh.
here I was about to be like, oh yeah, like he didn't know, but oh no, I mean, if that's a spin you could put on it that he was covering for her. Oh, that's
Oh,
much more interesting.
I like
That
that.
it wasn't just Sherry, then it was the Mendoza family, it was the Mendoza parents.
Yeah.
Like,
Kid,
okay,
kids probably
And could
didn't
we
know.
tie that into the threatening message on the answering machine
did
somehow?
was it the kidnappers, like the people that they asked to like?
oh, they didn't snatch the kids themselves. They had some other people, and they didn't pay
And
them
they
out.
owed the money.
Yeah, the money. Oh, that's dark. This is getting dark.
Oh boy.
So, but money, yeah, Morgan's like a missing kid. Um, the weirdest clue so far is about Abigail's height marks, and like one of them is missing in like 1990, 4 years before the family disappears. Like, so is it to say that like is that just another effect of like showing like the dimensional bleed of like two different like realities like touching each other, like, and there's just like a wear off, like something. There's like a 1990 in that version that Abigail's missing,
Well,
or
is the
Oh, that's
implication that Abigail just disappeared that year and
maybe.
was never seen again?
I
or
know, but
maybe
she
Or
was
is it,
there. She was there when like
she came back.
Casey remembers, her being around.
Yeah, she
Um,
was gone for to see like her aunt in a different state, but she was actually like gone. Maybe the kidnappers took her,
Or
oh,
or
but that
maybe
but that was 4 years before they like
oh
disappeared.
yeah,
Disappeared. So like I feel like I mean I don't know. Maybe the kidnappers thing.
or
It
maybe it
feels more
was
like
like a
it's more recent.
dimensional thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
so
maybe she
maybe
just got pulled into the other dimension briefly and then came back and they just didn't measure her in the
They just
interim?
forgot.
well, maybe she disappeared into this under the dimension, and when she came back, it wasn't really her. It's whatever like
Oh, her
the dark
alternate self?
her alternate self or like the darkness that lurks in this house, kind of. This is like the first contact. This is where the Mendozas start descending.
Oh, so 4 years before they disappeared, Abigail was taken by the house and
She was still
came
around.
back wrong
Hmm.
and then started like,
I don't know that way. I don't know if that would be like,
mm,
yeah, it's not quite. I don't,
We can go Sans one.
we can go Sans a clue.
you got it. Honestly, that clue is just like
Such a weird one.
such a weird one that I don't know how like we fitted it clean. I mean, like, because everything else is fitting together pretty nicely so far. Just that clue about like how that applies like 4 years ago, right? Like, what does that portend? Let's look at the other, like, let's look at the rest of the theory again, real quick. Let's just like recap what it looks like we're saying. So we're saying that the house started, Sherry and Hugh, like Sherry suffered a miscarriage, and like maybe that was like their first child or their second child before Elliot, whatever, like there was a miscarriage, a horrible thing for parents to go through. And, you know, at some point, the house is waking up. We know that the house is fucking evil. Something is weird there. And it's like making promises to them, right? Like how it can like bring back, we've seen it make phantasms of things out of memories. Um, so it's probably not very true or not very like honest in its intentions, but the house is fucking evil. We've established this. And like this is a real like feed me a stray cat kind of thing, right? Where it's like, oh, do these things for it, and this culminates in them, you know, paying
Having a
some
child.
people to nab a child. Um, maybe from Deep Lake, maybe from another town in Degoy County, just for the sake of distance, whatever. And like they sacrifice this kid, right? Um, Now past that point, this is where the theory I think we need like to strengthen like what happened to them, right? Because obviously like Sherry read up the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe obsessively. So there's this whole thing about like, oh, going through doors to a much more magnificent world. Whereas the door in Elliot's closet, which we've seen as like, he could come through. Um, so there's something involving these doors, these other places, these thin places, like Malachi said, this friction that exists. So the question remains,
I think that's where the picture of the third unknown child is like because it's something that slipped through.
mhm.
And then that's why she was holding on to it under their bed. Like, and the other kids didn't know about it. Probably was because it's an alternate thing where there
Mm.
were three kids.
And so are we to say then that the theory is that what happened to the Mendozas is just that they all just then eventually got sucked into the other side? Like the house ate them and like, digested them
Yeah,
into.
I think it's more so it's just like they stepped into like what they thought was just a door, but it's actually just the house consuming them. I think that it made this all these
Oh,
promises of these things and she like looked into it and researched it, but like it's just the house eating them.
Maybe the house told them that, after they sacrificed this other kid, it was like, you've done enough. Now come through. You can enter
and
the
get
other
your
side.
reward,
Get your reward. And it just ate him. Or alternatively, when Sherry, if we go with Sherry going nuts and just like taking an axe to the house, it decided cost effectiveness. These are no longer serving the house in a way that
I kind of like the idea of like if we're, I mean, again, I don't want to like put my thumb too heavily on the scale. Actually, the more we talk about it, I really do like the idea of like having it go even if, a little bit more dark with it. Like in the axe marks are from this reality because like maybe like after shit was going sideways, it's like the kid, it's like, oh, the house just made them do awful, terrible things like chase their kids around the house with a fucking axe, right? Like, and so like, there's that's evidence of like one awful night. And then like just it all culminates in like the house eating them. Like it causes all this misery and misfortune, and then it just slurps them up like a soup. It's just like, I'm good. We have caused chaos and misery and trauma. Now I eat it up.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, I like that.
Do we have any other thoughts about this, or are we all kind of like thinking that's where we're going with it? Like Malachi, what do you think?
Works for me.
Okay. Okay. So this ignores. We're not using the Abigail Mendoza height clue so far because that's been a nightmare. So that still gives us 7 like clues against the complexity 6. So what happened to the Mendozas is a long story of the house uh
Driving them mad.
manipulating them, driving them mad, having them commit some like heinous acts, um, and ultimately like driving the parents mad. And then there was just one really bad night. Now, one last thing I want to make sure we define, firmly in this because we started talking about it a little bit is that the comic books that we're saying that like with notes in them, right? Like, so it's between Elliot and the sibling question mark.
Yeah, it was the
Um,
house actually manipulating it the whole time.
maybe, yeah, it just shows how it's like, oh, maybe it like, lured Elliot into a sense of security. Just there is a thing happening there. There is an interesting question as to like why Elliot Mendoza is still present in the house and seemingly um like a thing you can interact with and doesn't seem evil, right? Because you guys have unlocked him as a reward too. So like Elliot clearly is like something removed from the situation. So maybe that clue speaks to the fact that like he wasn't he didn't get all the Kool-Aid by the end, right? Like something was like able to
I was
like
gonna say, yeah, he
yeah,
didn't,
Part of him is out of the house.
yeah,
What were you
or
gonna say,
just
I don't know.
yeah, he didn't do all the crazy. It was mostly the parents doing all the crazy stuff. Abigail might have gotten axe murdered, to be so real.
Abigail might have gotten axe murdered.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe in that attack that Elliot like ran into the door, and since he was like young and innocent, it couldn't like eat him.
Oh,
It needs
maybe
to
like
twist
maybe if you like
people.
if you when you read the comics more, the like cutesy messages exchanged between Elliot and his sibling from another world become more and more sinister. And like Elliot clearly was like, this is he jumped ship, right? So that's why he seems to be, you
Yeah,
know.
maybe he went into the closet and into the other dimension, and therefore wasn't eaten while in the house.
Mhm.
And so he's able to come back as himself.
Yeah, just some weird shit's happening. This is a weird one, you guys, but I'm honestly the theory does hold water. It does make sense, and it's very dark. It speaks to some very traumatic stuff that happened in that household. So the question remains, so to see if it is correct. It is a +1. Who wants to roll to see if it is?
I think Eric should because he's the one that came up with the original
Yeah,
theory.
you did the
Yeah.
foundation. So Eric, roll 2d6 +1, please.
Is 7 plus 1 8.
8. So the theory is correct. However, and I'll remind you, the only way the way you resolve House on Escondido Street is simply by just meeting up with Casey Wilcoxon, telling him, "Here's what happened to the Mendozas." You don't have to do anything with the house if you don't want to, because you rolled a 7 to 8. I'll tell you this for sure: if you try to further affect the house, it will fight back, and it will be very dangerous if you try to get back on the house's turf because it knows you know. Um, and so maybe you just got to leave the house be. But if you choose to engage with the house further, it will be a lot more dangerous and it will be ready.
We do still have our key for this mystery,
You do.
which once we're done with it, we can't use it anyway. So
Mhm.
should we perhaps bump our results?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. We'll use up all these clues that we had available. The key of the cave dweller. Each latchkey narrates a flashback to a fun activity they used to do with their family while at home. We will narrate those at the top of our next session. I'll make sure Tamara hears about this as well so she can prep her answer. What a fucking dark key to cap off that theory we came up with too. Incredible. So I will bump it up to a 10 plus. So it won't be as dangerous if you do anything further with the house, and it probably, or there might, no further unwelcome details. But you have the opportunity now. Good job, team. I'll make a note of that. Let's proceed through the rest of the dawn phase or dusk phase. Oh yeah, so there are no Odyssey tapes to be found. I'll remind everyone too that Odyssey tapes are found on a 12 plus on the meddling move. So maybe if you think, ooh, maybe I want to get another Odyssey tape, you can always bump up your rolls if you get those tens. Um, but because we are getting pretty close to the end here, I'm thinking we go ahead and as we segue into figuring out what will happen during the night, why don't we just go on and move to stars and wishes?
Yeah.
Let's take a 10-minute break, and when we come back, we can do the session debrief.
Yeah.
All right, stars and wishes. Whoever would like to go first.
I can go first. I'd first off star to I'll just go down the line. Alex. Honestly, really always loved the voice of the big man. It was great. The scenes, I don't know, just setting up the scene of like the bridge. I really felt like it was like ominous, and I really liked the vibe that you were giving off in that scene a lot. Um, yeah, just really overall really fun session, and as always, really great control of like scene and moving us back and forth. I always enjoy how you do that. Star to Eric. I really liked your jump scare that you had with the big man. I thought it was really funny. Also just really liked our opening scene together. I thought how we all kind of bounced off of each other was a lot of fun. And also shout out to your move. Thank you for being a friend. How wonderful that is. Um Starter Sebastian, I really liked how you interacted with not only the sheriff trying to like just kind of blow him off and just saying that you were petty. I thought I really enjoyed you trying to maneuver in that direction, even though he was kind of like locked in on you, and your interactions with Patience Head of just continuing to like give her a spin. And then I do like how you kept telling her, you're like, oh yeah, no, I was born here, and then you're like, oh, but where I'm from, and it was a completely different place. So yeah, I really like that too. Wishes, I want to see us get Odyssey tapes, honestly. I think that next time that does come around, if I do end up rolling a 10 plus, I think I might end up blown a key, or uh yeah, probably having to blow a key or something to get that, but I do want to see more Odyssey tapes. But yeah, that's me.
Okay. I actually forgot to write down some of my stars as we were going because I was so caught up in the narrative, but I did get some. First, our nostalgic move at the beginning. Star to everyone for that. That felt very organic and a great way to kind of get a session going. Um, Alex, your portrayal of Father Rogelio was very good. Seems like a really helpful character to have around for, especially for this particular threat we're dealing with. Also, your performance as Patience Head doesn't who didn't really understand when I advised just be nice to people. That sounded like something she would say. And also your portrayal of the sheriff, very good. Let me see. Also, the finding of the Narnia clue, I thought that really stood out. And then, yes, Eric, your encounter with the big man, how you had your jump scare and then said he had very creepy giggles. Yeah, so that was my stars. Um, wishes, yeah, I also want to see find another Odyssey tape and be utterly creeped out by what it shows us. Um, looking forward to wrapping up this threat with Escondido Street and focusing more on the other two and just getting to know our characters more and doing more off the cuff role play with them. That's proven to be almost more fun than the investigations themselves. So yeah, that's me.
Go through mine real quick. Yeah, Malachi, I loved your whole scene with Patience and the sheriff. Very fun. I loved at the beginning for the question of the new mystery with Molman, classic conspiracy theory. It was I thought it was great. Also, I'm petty. What a lot, iconic, incredible. He is the moment.
He kind
Uh,
of is, yeah.
Kyle, the spray to cover up weed. That was kind of funny to get rid of the smell of smoke. Also thought it was fun that you're afraid of the same kinds of kid that you were. These punks.
Ruin
Um,
record stores.
a good time. Max is so studious. I don't feel like he belongs in the library, and yet we keep seeing him there, working hard, getting them clues. Alex, the mercy and whims of small town bureaucracy, if that isn't so true. I loved your portrayal of Patience Head. Big man's always fun to see. I know, out of character, that's El Paso. Um, in character, I don't know how we'll get there, but we'll see. Um, all the details about the fire in the high school, very intriguing, slightly concerning. That feels like it's going to come back somehow, and I'm very curious to see how. I don't know if it'll be another mystery or what, but excited to see. Also the obelisk in the La Fresca library. Why? What's it doing there? It's not good. I bet you that. Wishes. Excited to wrap up Escondido Street. I'm curious to see if we're gonna try and banish this evil house or not. Um, excited to see what Elliot manifests as a reward. Of course, excited to have Tamara back. Had the full play group, and we didn't really get into it this session, but really excited to see more about the Whisper. This one seems like a creepy threat, and I'm excited to see where that one goes.
Yeah, very fun. Definitely enjoyed a bit of a like a slower session, just in the fact that we only get one through the day phase today, but there was a lot happening. Really enjoyed getting to see Everett pair up with Father Rogelio. That was a fun dynamic that I wasn't expecting. And it was fun, and I want to see more of him interacting with the other latchkeys as well. I also really liked the whole bit of interacting with Patient's Head like that, just in having the whole conversation, and then immediately picking up on the fact that it's like, yeah, well, maybe be nice to people. I will also echo, as I said in the moment, Kyle, you adding the context for how the Narnia clue came into play there was super great. I was like, oh, that's great narrative. That because there were a lot of clues this session where I was like, I know this is the clue I want to give, and I have like a loose idea of how it fits in the narrative. There's just fucking weird places to put them. So you guys did a really good job, just kind of like taking my curveballs and making them make sense in the narrative. And so same to all of you with the theory for Escondido Street, where there's a lot of weird stuff, but it really came together by the end. And that I think this is the first time we've ever, maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time we as a play group have had a question come up where we end up not using all the clues because we're just like, one of these is just too fucking hard to explain in any way. So we're just not going to use it. Which is very interesting, right? That's like really cool that we got to have that moment of just like, we don't know where this clue comes in, so we're just going to ignore it instead of agonizing over that. But ultimately, I really like that theory. I am excited to see people interact with the Whisper because it is one of the mysteries I wrote, but also because I think it is very fun for this group in particular. And I just love, one of my main sources of inspiration was the Twilight Zone episode, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. So if you've seen that episode, you know. Yep. Maple Street, Mahogany Place, the inspiration to show itself. I've added a tab to our character keep. Well, rather, I've added a section on our character keeper to the Degoya County tab. I have actually added a strange history section tracking the weird shit you keep hearing mentioned. So I'm going to be adding the prom fire there. You have already the mention of the construction of TV Odyssey. So there's a lot of weird stuff that has happened in Degoya County, and those threads will keep appearing in several places. I really
Thank you.
like how everyone really thought outside the box today, by the way, with like clue finding, because even it kept me on my toes. And I was like, okay, I have stuff I can use to like get La Fresca in the narrative from like I can pull from other mysteries that we just don't have in play yet. But even then, I'm just like, oh my God, all like such clue finding potential, and I'm over here like, God, what do I do with all this? But you guys were giving me enough to work with, though, that it felt pretty satisfying. We're like 3 sessions into a public access campaign, and I really do have to like reset my brain from like the default of how the between was going. So to be like, now I have to like fit this vibe. And I love public access. So it's just been fun to like start getting like momentum in the engine, like steam in the tank. So yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm once we have Tamara back, I'm definitely wanted to see. I missed Dahlia's presence in this episode, but I really do think that the boys of 26 Rodenbecker were holding the house just fine today. But yeah, I think that is all I had. Any other stars or wishes?
Oh, I did just want to say, I noticed that in the Escondido Street, when with our theory, it does kind of loop back to the photo album of the summer camp of '93, where it was full of dead animals. Those could have been more things that they're influenced by this whole like endeavor.
Oh, sacrifices. Oh, yep, that's cool.
I, I was just something else. I was like, oh shit, that does
I
kind of
love
like,
retroactive connections like that, where it's like, oh,
yep,
actually, wait a second, that fits.
yep.
Reusing clues.
Yeah,
Hmm.
reusing clues is just like, oh, it just fits, fills it in a little bit more. But yeah, that's
That's
all I had.
I love that it just happened organically. Like we weren't striving to make it. We just realized after the fact, oh, that actually full circle connects.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Uh, but yeah, it was a good session, y'all. Thank you.
Also, side note, reason for that whole thing with what's her name, the HOA lady, was because
Patience.
I wanted to frame her for breaking back there and messing with the records. Just leave a trace of her there.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Had Sheriff Hanscom not entered the narrative, that may have been how that went. But yeah, tricky, tricky.
Yeah, left too much to chance.
yes.
We'll see what happens next time. But thank you all for playing, and I will bring the recording to a close.